Hi, I'm Natalie, and I am going to walk you through making the Bucket Tote by Mrs. H Sewing Patterns. If you're in our Anna Maria Club, you received the full kit with all the materials I'm using. As always, I make a few changes on the fly because that's what I do. Mrs. H also has her own video if you'd like to follow her as well, okay? So, let's grab our stuff and let's get sewing. Okay, so now we're going to cut out the pieces to this. If you don't need this section, you can just fast forward through it. Let's go overhead. I'm going to use my Zen blocks as pattern weights. And I am cutting out the exterior fabric. Oh, this is not cutting. Well, take the blade out. Genius. Okay, I'm going to cut this across. This is on the fold. If you have a little 28 millimeter like I'm using, it's very easy to do these curves. So there's one exterior. See how it's just really pretty? Even though this is such a huge print, it's just so pretty. It's gonna be awesome. All right, let's do the next exterior piece. Put this on the fold again. Let's see. I don't know, do I want them both? I guess they'll be the pink. Train's coming through. There's that one. Now, since I've got my exterior fabric out, I'm going to put this to the side. We still need to cut lining and interfacing, but let me see what else I need to cut. I'm doing the bottom out of leopard cork. Let's see, this is all lining. Okay, I'm going to move this fabric out of the way. Let's cut our base. I love pairing Anna Maria fabric, almost any print, with my leopard cork. It just always looks so good. In your Anna Maria kit, you will get a piece of this cork for your bottom section. Doesn't mean you have to make it out of this. You have plenty of material if you want to use something else. But I love that. And that way I don't have to use interfacing on this piece. Okay. So there's that. Now let's do, these are interfacing pieces. Let's cut our lining out. Now I'll put these together. Now let's do our pockets. Let's see, this one is on the fold. We need two of this one on the fold. And then this one is our little key hook thing. So one of these, let me trim this down. Okay, now I think we have a few more things to cut here. Let's see. Our strap. If you want to cut a fabric strap, go ahead and do that. I'm thinking I'm going to use the sewable leather straps that we carry in blue because this fabric, this Anna Maria fabric, has so many luscious colors. Let's see. We have some stabilizing pieces to cut. This one is a pattern piece. Already did that, did that. Zip pocket top. Did we do that? 10 by 7. I don't think I, sure. Yeah, did that. Okay. Looks like I've got everything cut. Tidy up my space. All I need to cut now is the interfacing. I'm going to use SF101 and foam and a little bit of Peltex. So you will have all of that in your kit. And again, whatever you want to use or don't use, it's totally fine. You're in charge. So for this piece here, this is from Peltex, and it's so when you're holding the bag, it doesn't pull up too much or concave on itself or whatever word I'm looking for. I'm going to cut it out because I may need it. I may not. We'll see. This is my Peltex. Your kit box will have these pieces cut into smaller, more manageable sections. So don't worry, let's go overhead. Make sure that you're putting the fold on the right area. So the fold is over here. And I'm going to utilize this straight edge down here. This one. There's one piece. There's the second piece. Put those together. There we go. That Peltex is fusible, but let me just let you know, you don't want to fuse that directly to the fabric or you will have lumps and bumps everywhere. Don't do it. We're going to do the foam section to the fabric first, and then we'll put on the Peltex. So for our exterior main body pieces, it's this pattern piece. I'm gonna cut foam. This is the foam I use, like always. Love it when I get to open a new pack of it. I'm gonna cut 2 at once. All right, let's go overhead and I'll cut out my foam pieces. I'm cutting 2 layers at once. And I always cut bigger. We'll worry about trimming it down later. So there I cut 2 pieces. We'll do that later. Okay, I think let's get our SF-101 out. Or I could use just a word about SF-101. You can use different interfacing with the same result. This one is called Woven Fusible. This is from Dayton. Staple Sewing Aids. I'm not sure where I got this, actually. I don't think I'll use that. I'm going to use this bolt. No, I'm not. This is double gauze. Here's my, oh, this is such a mess. I accidentally bought double wide SF-101 and it's making me crazy because it's so messy. See how it's just so messy. All right, but we gotta use what we've got. Let me make it work. Trim this down. Okay, so if I fold this like this, I could cut a couple of pockets at a time. When I iron this, it'll all smooth out, so I don't need to worry too much. I don't worry about cutting the interfacing super accurately at the start. I trim it up after it's fused on. If you use a pressing cloth or a Teflon pressing sheet, it's absolutely fine to do it that way. I think she wants us to do the main body with this as well. I think, because it says 4. So 2 foam, 2 SF-101, I think. I just cut my paper. Darn it. All right, got those pieces interfaced. Now I can use little scrap pieces of interfacing to do these tiny pieces when I get to them. I'm just going to do that later. Okay, so shall we attach our foam? Let's see, or maybe we don't do that yet. Dun, 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 dun. So the very first page when you open this pattern is all the cutting out. So, and remember our seam allowance is 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch. Width times height. This, okay, zip pocket. Okay, so I think, do we have, we've got this, that's stabilizer. F2, F3, where's F1? Oh, right there. F1 is the little one. Okay, got it. All right, I think I've got everything cut out. So now stabilizers, center and fuse base stabilizer to the base. So your base stabilizer piece is smaller than your base. So don't get confused. C is the base, CS is the stabilizer, and see how it will fit in there? Now, I don't think I'm going to need it for this bag because my cork has a bit of body to it. I will cut it out with you though, just in case I need it. Later, I'll make that judgment call. So we're going to cut this out of the Peltex. So let's go overhead. Peltex is really quite thick. It works well for what it's used for. But if I don't need it, because I'm using that cork, then I'm going to omit it. Just because sometimes it annoys me. But I will clip it here, just in case. And these triangle marks, you want to make little markings so that you know the centers of your pieces. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to make little marks. Okay, now put those together. I like to take a pen and just mark off what I've done as I'm doing it so I don't backtrack and get confused and waste a bunch of time. So let's see here. Now we can smooth the exterior panels, so that's the Anna Maria fabric, onto the foam and baste around the outer edge using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So that's these pieces and our big pieces of foam. And I like to press this first. It's not a fusible foam, but it has a bit of a texture to the foam, and ironing it seems to keep it from sliding around. So I'm going to lay it out like this and quickly just give it a quick press. That's nice. And now I can sew it. So I'm going to put my things there and let's go to the machine. Okay, now this can be a larger stitch length, the based stitch. I'm just going to turn mine to 4.5. So now I'll take it overhead and trim this down. Okay, now these two exterior pieces have foam. It's always good to hit it with the iron really quick. So I'm just going to set those to the side. So now base C needs foam. I'll do a little bit of foam on there. Okay, clean up your area, and when we come back, I will start with the strap section, even though I'm not making a strap, and that will be step 5. All right, see you in a minute. I made a design choice change. I was going to use the blue leather strap, but actually, after thinking about this a little bit, I want to incorporate the cork. So this is our cork bottom, and I'm going to make this into a strap. So we will put a full piece of cork in your Anna Maria kit box, and you'll want to cut your strap pieces first before cutting the bottom. So cut it 4 inches by width of fabric. I'm going to sew this piece to it. We want a strap that's 54 inches. It's in a loop, it's in a circle. So I'm going to put these pieces together and sew them together on the machine. Can we go to the machine? And then with this seam, I'm going to press it flat and sew down the seam allowance on each side. That way it won't hassle me later. Okay, now we can take it to the workspace. I'm going to measure 54 inches in length. So there's 36, 46, 56, so minus 2. I'm going to cut it right there. Okay, I'll save that. This will now be our strap. And so I'm resuming on the instruction booklet on number 5. So we fold the strap in half, wrong sides together, and press. What you can do, since we're working with this gorgeous cork, is this, and you can fold it again, and that's just like fabric, okay? I'm gonna do that for this whole section. And I'm gonna change also my strap tabs. I had cut them out of lining, but I'm gonna make them this, because they show, I already sewed this one together. sometimes this happens when I'm making a bag is I think to myself, oh, but I think this will look even better. And so I just change. It's okay. Already cut materials can be salvaged and used somewhere else. This cork, because of the microfiber backing, it doesn't need extra padding inside, but if you want to watch a tutorial of mine, I have one where I'm making a vinyl strap, and I slip a piece of foam in the middle just to make it a little bit more cushiony. So it's an option. We'll sew this open edge down first, and then we'll sew the other side so it's balanced and looks good. All right, let's go to the machine. Now remember with straps, I sew down one way and then I take it out and I sew the same direction so that I don't get the twisties. Out, and I'm just going to flip it so that I'm still sewing in the same direction as the other side. Let the feed dogs do all the work. Don't pull. Okay, so there's our strap. So I'll set that to the side a second. Now the strap tabs, we're going to fold these into the center and then just sew down the edges. So it's just going to come in like this. And we're going to sew down these edges. Let's go to the machine. This is so short, I can just turn. I won't get any twisting here. And these edges get sewn again, so I'm not going to backstitch. See, it'll get folded over like this when we put it into the bag. Okay, let me pick up some things here so I stay organized. I like to put these items back so I don't lose them. I put a clip on them. Okay, let's check that step off the pattern. That was 5. Now we need to take our rectangles, I'm using rainbow, and thread both rectangles onto the strap. All right, so before we sew down both edges completely, we need to open up the short ends, place them right sides together, and sew across this edge. And that, of course, is after you put on your rectangles. Now, once I refold, it will be easier. It wants to go back together. I'm just going to come down here and sew that edge shut again. Okay, now we're good. So we've got the rectangles on here. We've got a looped handle. I need to hammer that seam down. So that takes us all the way up to step 9. Let me see what's next. Thread each, this is number 10. Thread each snap tab. Mine were the cord. Where did I put those? Here they are. Through each rectangle ring to the halfway point and stitch to secure. Okay. So all I'm going to do, take this through here, and then I'll stitch across here. Here's the other one. Stitch across there. All right, we will put this aside for the moment, and that will take us to the next chapter, which is create the outer, step 11. We're on step 11, creating the outer bag. So grab your foamed outer fabric pieces and let's place these right sides together, matching the edges. What we're gonna do is sew down these sides, but not the bottom. Leave the bottom open. This bag has a different bottom, don't forget. So let's use some clips. Sew this together. I like to check both sides before I start sewing and make sure everything is lined up. Okay, looks good. Checking the seams. Looks good. Now we've got the bottom open, and we're going to grab our bottom, note the centering markings, and line it up with the center of your exteriors, the bottom. So if I fold mine like this, I have the center crease. Make sure this is right. Yep, that one's right. Oh, that one I had marked wrong, yikes. Okay, so we're gonna match those right sides together. This is where you might catch it if your seam allowance is not right. I catch myself often when it comes to matching up things, and I just go back and restitch it, measuring my seam allowance. It's not the end of the world. Every time I try to hurry and skip little steps, I end up taking longer. Anyone else do that? I think I'm taking a shortcut and it's a long cut. Mrs. H also has a video for this, by the way. You should subscribe to her channel. She's renamed her company to The Make Space. But on YouTube, it's still Mrs. H. Okay, so that is on. So I'm going to mark off that we did number 11, and now we're on 12. If you're using really thick fabrics, she says it may help you to use a stapler. I won't need it on this one. You'll get a neater finish if you can sew with the base facing down on the machine, but she says you might find it easier if the base is facing up. We'll see what happens for me. So I'm going to check off 12 because I'm about to do it. I think it'll be okay with the base down, honestly. Yeah. I don't have a special machine or anything, but I find a lot of times I can just make it work. My clips on upside down because I thought I would be sewing with the base up, but that's okay. Didn't hurt anything. Yeah, this is fine, sewing it like this. Awesome. We're back to the beginning. And it's on. I always check all my seams. Looks fine. Looks good. Yay! We can mark off step 12. And we can mark off step 13. Awesome. Now we're on step 14. Turn the bag outer right side out and use a 1/4 inch seam allowance based one strap tab to the center of the left angled edge along the top. Oh, isn't that awesome? That looks. It just works. Okay. Okay. So one of these snap tabs, or not, what are we calling it? What are we calling it? Strap tab, not snap tab. Okay, left will be like this. So let me take your overhead. Here's this one. That's the left. Okay. And then this one, gonna go across, but we don't want it to twist or anything. Make sure it's not going to twist. And we want to do it to this side. Okay, let's sew these down. It's so cold in here. I think outside right now it's -4. Okay, that one's on. Now on the opposite side, we're doing this one. Yay! So just so we're clear, one is on the front and the other one is on the back. Okay, and that's how it's gonna sit for right now. Let me set that there. So now we can clean up our space a little bit. Just do it with me, you'll be glad. All right, step 14 is done. I can check mark off that. Step 15 is done. Yep, and we set it aside. So now we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back to create the lining zipped pocket. I'll see you in a second. Okay, the next chapter, creating that zippered pocket. So this is step 16. You're going to take F1, which is already interfaced with some fusible. And if I take you overhead, we are going to, which I've already done, we mark lines 1 inch in, and then measuring from the long edge 1/2 inch and draw a line. This long edge, measure 1/2 inch, draw a line. And that gives us this zipper pocket window, which I've already drawn a line down the center with little Y edges like we usually do on a zipper pocket. This is ready to go. This opening should be 8 inches long. Then I have measured 7 inches up from the bottom of my lining piece, and I made a line here. I'm going to center this and put the bottom edge of this pocket here and pin it in place. I need my little tomato. Okay, now we are going to sew with a tight stitch length, like 2.5 or 2 even, that rectangle, and then we'll cut into it like we usually do. Let's go to the machine. Here we are. The centering line is for cutting. Okay, back to the beginning. Let's go back overhead. Now I can take out my pins and cut through that. I like to keep my ruler, cut right down that center line, and then for the little Y marks, I use sharp scissors. And get as close as you can to the stitching without going through the stitching. And your iron should be ready. We're going to press this through to the wrong side. Okay, I'm going to grab my iron. That, I think I need like a mini size mat for these tutorials. Maybe I'll ask Ironmatic. Okay, so this is turning the page. We're on step 17. We stitched around the box. Now we're going to steam press the box stitches. I love how she does this. This is such a good technique. I don't have steam in my iron. I dropped it. It just doesn't work with steam. It's my fault. So I cheat and just use starch. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. I'm going to pull this up. And then down. I kind of press with some pressure here too. Okay. And then the side edges. Okay, should be ready. And now we're going to push it through to the wrong side. Let's make sure it looks good from this side. This corner looks better than this corner. So I'm just going to release a stitch here that I can see. Just didn't snip it close enough. One stitch. I can see the thread. Okay. There we go. Now it's going to sit flat. Excellent. So that is caught up now all the way to step. We did 17, we did 18, and we did 19. Okay, now we're going to start with step 20, and we'll need our double-sided sticky tape and your number 3 zippers and your F2 and F3 pocket pieces. So grab those really quick and let's do this. Okay, this one is F3. We are placing the double-sided sticky tape up here. Peeling it away. I'm going to put the pull on my zipper tape. If you're using zipper tape like I am, cut it to 10 inches. Or even a little bigger, it doesn't matter. And then we're going to place this, let's see, we place it right sides up, matching those long edges. Press it down so it adheres. And now we're going to sew right across here. When you're getting close to that pull, just move it out of the way. All right. So let's put that on the work surface. This next part can be a little tricky, so just do it slowly. Fold the zip over to the wrong side and press into place. Do not top stitch. I'm going to fold it to the wrong side. There we go. Number 21. Add a line of double-sided basting tape to the upper edge of pocket F2 and then turn it so the edge is on the bottom. I'm going to unpeel it. With the zip pocket F2 shown in pink, right sides up, so this one's F2, and zip pocket F3 shown in blue, right sides down, match, and then sew the zip to that upper edge. Again, there we are. And I'm going to sew right across here. There's that one. Press that down. Okay. Bigger pocket up here, smaller pocket here, zip pull to the right. Number 22, press both fabrics away from the zip so it lies flat with the right side of the zip showing on the wrong side of the fabrics. Add a line, number 23, add a line of double-sided basting tape to the top and bottom of the zip pocket facing. So that one, that was that's on the lining. Here it is. Here we are. So we're going to do this. Peel this away. And now we're going to put this on top of here, but you know, I might have to flip this over to really get it correct. I'm probably going to have to do this. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so that's in there. Let's flip the page to number 24. I feel like that's still a little puffy there. I might need a little more tape on that, right there on that edge. I'd feel better if it was just sticking a little bit better. Maybe it's because my room is on the cold side. I don't know. Okay, there we go. That's better. Stitch around all 4 edges to secure the zip panel in there. You just want to make sure that your fabrics are flat and away. You don't want them bunched up under here or anything. So let's go to the machine. And remember, you can use a coordinating thread and you won't see this stitching. If it comes loose, just readjust it. Make sure your pull is out of the way. There we go. Sure it's good on this side. Yep, I'm just going to cut this little thread I have hanging out here. Any loose threads, get rid of them because they can get in the way of the zipper teeth and the functionality of it. So on the wrong side, this is step number 25, on the wrong side of the lining panel, bring the top of the zipper pocket down to meet the bottom. And we're going to stitch this pocket up. I'm going to throw a pin in here. We're going to leave the bottom open. We're probably going to turn this bag through this pocket, I bet. So we're just going to stitch up these sides. Make sure you're moving the bag out of the way while you're stitching. Pin out. Now we could baste across here so that it turns more easily later. I'm gonna switch my machine to a size 5 stitch length, which is very huge, and go across the bottom here. Now, at the same time that I did that, to remind myself, I'm gonna come in here and unpick it right away. There. It's just a reminder. And then I'm gonna come over here and turn my stitch length back down before I forget. Open the zip and leave it to the side. Well done. That was the hardest part of the whole bag, and you did it. So when we come back after a short break, we are going to start with we opened the zip already. We're going to start with sewing the slip pockets, which is G. Let's sew these pockets. Now, Samantha in these directions has 2 different ways you can do it. I know that pockets, I usually use it for my phone or keys or things like that. So I'm going to make both of mine the same way. It'll be more useful for me. So in her directions, you can fold it this way or you can fold it this way. And this is the way I'm going to be doing it. We will sew up these 3 edges, leaving or base stitching 1 edge for turning. All right, let's take it to the machine. Now here I'm going to turn it up to a base stitch. Okay. That's the opening where I'm going to turn this pocket right sides out. Now I'm going to turn it back down. This is the second pocket. And up to a base stitch. And back down. Now I'm going to grab my iron because we want to set these stitches. You can use steam if you want to. Oops. Clip the corners. Now the basted section here, I'm going to unpick and turn this right side out. Poke out these corners with your expert point and press tool, and we'll iron that section in just a second. I gotta unpick this side. Okay, let's grab the iron. I'm going to tuck these raw edges under as best I can. These are inside pockets, so I'm not going to lose my mind over having them perfect. But I'll do my best for today's energy. How about that? There we go. Good press, and then we'll sew that up. All right, now this one. Let me tuck this edge in. There we go. Let's sew that edge up. Use a matching thread if you don't want to see it. Pretty good. All right, so now we're going to add these to the lining. I'm going to use this one first, and we're going to measure 2 inches up from the bottom edge. So I'm just going to set my ruler here, and I'm going to do this. Get it pretty centered. Let's see here. I really should do this so that I can match the center creases. It's better. Now I can do the 2 inches up. And we'll sew this one in. Let's place this one as well. We'll have to move the zipper pocket up and out of the way, so that's why I'm going to fold it up here. 2 inches and center it. Huh, I guess I should have done that one lengthwise. That's not going to fit. Okay, well, guess what? I didn't realize that. I can just either redo it or I can just lower it. Maybe I'll lower it to right there. That's what I'll do. So we're only going to sew the sides and across the bottom on these slip pockets. On this one, make sure that your zipper pocket is up and out of the way. Let's go to the machine and I will sew this in. Remember, matching thread you won't see. Okay, now we'll do the other one. Take out all the pins. Both pockets are functional. Isn't that nice? And this one is good to go. Ouch. If you wanted to, you can always sew up the center and divide these pockets. I don't think I'm going to do that this time. A lot of times I do, but I'm just going to leave it. Do trim up all your threads. Like I have a lot to trim up here, but I don't need to have you watch me do it. So now we can cross off 26, 27, 28. Yep. And that bit under 28. And we can turn the page. Okay, so now we're on to step 29. We're going to add our little key hook, if you do that kind of thing, and the magnetic snap. All right, so this is step 29. Let's add our magnetic snap. I am going to mark about 1 inch down from this edge with my prongs. Ooh, I used chalk there, but I don't think these are even. Oh, they're not. Oh well, we'll make it work, won't we? Do our little tiny slits in the fabric. Push it through to the wrong side. And just like I've done before, I'm going to add foam back here. Oops. And then the washer. And press it down. There we go. I'm going to add a little piece of batting tape there and fuse that down. guess just extra insurance so those prongs don't mess with anything. Okay, let's do the same to the other side. Let's do a ruler. These pencils are a little bit thick, so I have to kind of move it up some to make my marking. I can just barely see those little slits where we need to go. There's that one. There's that one. Now I fold my little square of foam. There's that. Washer. There's that. All right, so that's in. Now on one of these, we are going to add our little key fob holder thing. Because I'm going to use cork on this, I am not folding it into the center per the directions. I'm just going to match the width to the width of my hardware, the swivel hook, and place it up here. I'm going to sew this down. Oops. Straight. All right. So there is that. So that was quick. We're almost done. Where'd my pen go? Here it is. We did number 29. We did B and E and place, and now we're going to finish the lining. We will come back and start with step 31. Okay, now we are going to put the lining bag together, and I have to draw the seam allowance because it changes a little bit and it's too hard to guess. So if we go overhead, I'll show you what I did on one side. We're going to start at 3/8 of an inch up here, and after the 1 inch mark, we can start tapering out to 5/8 of an inch. 5/8, and then we taper back into 3/8 down here. So I have to draw it for myself. You only have to do one side because you'll be looking at just one side. So here, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Gonna start here. Gonna start here. And then after 1 inch here, I can start tapering out. I'm just gonna use my hem gauge. And then I'm going to mark 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is way out here. So I'm going to start tapering out. And then start tapering in gradually. And back into 3/8. Okay, now we're going to put this right sides together, this one. We do not sew the bottom. Remember, we've got our own lining bottom here. And I fused the Peltex to the lining bottom. Okay, so I'm going to use pins on this since this is all fabric. You can put them like this if it's easier. Just keep them in while you're sewing because it can shift kind of easily. All right, let's sew this at the machine. Now, if you forgot or did not mark your center marks on here, go ahead and do it now. You can also use the pattern piece. Sometimes folding that Peltex is really difficult. We should press these seam allowances open. I am going to use my ham. You could use a mini iron if it's easier for you. Quite a chunky seam allowance here. All right. Now the curved edge is the top. This is the bottom. This is step 33, where we will match those centering markings and add the base. And then we put the whole bag together. We're almost there. The Peltex can make it a little fiddly to match up and work in. So just take your time. If you need to unclip and reclip, it's normal. I'm probably going to have to do some of that myself. Okay, that's on. So let's take this to the machine and sew this down. I'm going to start over here at a side seam. All right. Now, like usual, I'm going to come in here and make sure there are no gaps. I didn't miss any seams. Everything is intact. And it is. Good. Now remember, you've got your zipper pocket bottom open. It's going to be important in a few minutes here. So clean up your area, take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to put this bag together. So we're at the ending here, very close to it. And along these curves at the bottom, you can take pinking shears and trim that seam allowance a bit. We'll do that for the top edge of the bag for sure. The bottom is Your choice. She says to, so I'm going to. Okay. Now we've got the outer bag and the inner bag. And I am going to put the outer bag inside the inner bag. So then the fabrics are right sides together. Can you go overhead, Ramel? It can be a bit of a push here. You got to get that strap down in there. Take your time on this part because we want it to look good when we're done. I'm going to clip that piece there. I'm going to match this here. And then I'm just going to work my way around. Make sure that key fob is down and inside the layers. Match these seams. You might have to come back and add more clips later. At first, it's good to get some of the key parts matching and then work around it and come back and fix things as need be. There we go. Now it's starting to behave. This. See it taking shape? Side seam and side seam. Now we'll do this side. All right. Now you may notice I did not put in my Peltex up here. I decided not to use it. And the part I'm talking about is this part. So if you wanted to use this, you would just fuse it to the foam before you put the bag together, okay? Just fuse it. It's fusible. This is sticky. I'm going to include this in your kit if you want to use this. I'm thinking that I don't need it with this foam. I hope I'm right. I might be wrong. But I like to push boundaries. Okay, ready to sew this thing? Let's go to the machine. Here comes my key fob. I can feel it. I'm just going to stop and start as I need to. I'm going to check both sides. Okay, looks all right. Now we're going to trim those top curvy edges with pinking shears so that we maintain a nice curve when we turn this out. So we can go overhead. You could also just clip it if it's easier for you. By clipping, I mean this, along these curves. That might be easier. At these corners, I snip down my seam allowance quite a bit. And along here, just want the fabric to really pop along those edges. Make sure you're not snipping your stitches though. I'm going to trim it down a little bit. Less bulk for the seam to sit appropriately. Okay, here's another corner. I'm going to trim this down a bit. Here's another corner. Trim this down a bit. We're almost there. Okay. Now for the turn, that zipper pocket is open. Now we're going to turn the whole back through here somehow. It can be done. There's the lining. All right, let's go back to the overhead camera. Now I'm going to push this down inside. Doesn't it? It takes a little coaxing to get all these corners out, but you can do it. Oh, I love this. What a great design. So we're just going to press all these corners. You can always take a pin and coax a corner out as well. Mine are popping out pretty well. I'm not mad about it. Okay, so let's take that zipper pocket and we got to close the bottom. As long as all your stuff is looking good. So what I mean by that is take a quick glance and make sure everything is intact, like you didn't miss any seams or anything. Don't feel bad if you did. I miss seams all the time, even after all these years. Just fix it before you close this pocket up. And I'm just going to do the quick and easy, turn it under and sew. You could always do a ladder stitch or any kind of closure you prefer. there's that. Let's go back. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. No, I missed one side of that zipper pocket. I should have tucked that. Sometimes I do that. See? I just said it, and it's true. Okay, now we're good. Oh. What did I just... Oh, Lord. Okay, so now my pocket. Trim your threads before you shove it back inside and all that. You know that. Okay, now let's press. Pressing a bag when you're done is one of the most important steps. And I admit I have skipped it, but don't skip it because it can really make the bag so much more professional looking. So I'm going to grab my ham and I'm going to roll these edges and press hard. Let's go overhead. Oh, my iron got unplugged. Ah! All right. Wait a hot minute for it to get hot. This one I can pull out. There we go. You can also whack this with a hammer. You could put clips on it and let it sit overnight. There are lots of different ways to make your bag really pop. Isn't this awesome? I'm so proud of you for doing this, sticking with me, sewing this. Sometimes things can feel so daunting, but once you start going, once you start taking those little steps, action steps, you think, well, this isn't as hard as I thought it would be. And it's just true for everything, not only sewing. This morning I didn't want to work out, but I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do one thing at a time and just get through it. And it went so fast. I think sometimes just getting up and off our butts is the hardest part. See how this lining is kind of poking up here? I'm just going to roll it down with my fingies, press it, and press it with heat. There we go. Wow. That looks good. Okay, final step. The final step is to top stitch around the bag. Let's hope I don't mess it up. I'm gonna make this like a 3.5. Remember, you can use coordinating thread. I am not. Any of these angles, remember you can lift your foot, keep the needle down, and pivot. Just like this one here. It's not much of a pivot, but I rather just lift my foot and get it right. It's not a race. Go as slow as you need to. I've got that magnet here, so I need to be careful. Make sure I'm sewing along the edge. Yep. Did not hit the magnet. Remember, if the foam is an issue, you can always use your mallet to whack it down first. Can you see what I'm doing? Here we are. Finished. Need to put my key fob back. I should have, you know what? I am going to rivet that down so it stays in the bag because I have a feeling that cork will want to pop up. I'm just going to rivet that down. And this is my cork strap, which will need a little coaxing to act right, but it will. Now, I guess you can leave it doubled or what does the cover look like? Is it doubled? I think that's how you want to do it, right? I love it. How cute. Do you like it? I really like it. And see all that leopard? Oh, that is a fun bag to make. Let me trim my little threads. The only thing I forgot to do was to put my label in it, but I can add that now at the end. This will be a shop sample. Cute. I love a big print like that. It's such a statement. I do this every time I finish a bag. I just kind of stare at it. Oh, I really like it. So thank you to Samantha at Mrs. H Sewing Patterns or the Make Space for writing this bucket tote pattern. If you joined our Anna Maria Club, you will get all these materials in your box, in your kit, with the printed pattern and this video, of course. If you'd like to purchase a kit and you're not in the Anna Maria Club, we can put a different fabric together for you, no problem. Just send us an email. All right, well, that's a wrap. Take care of you, and I will see you next time. Peace, love, sewing.